everybody, it's Safi and Marco. Dish out on the movies. Get that out of my face. And today we are reviewing a movie that just came out today, right, Marco? It's Psych 3. This is Gus. And all of the same characters are in it. It's just great. I loved it. And I know that other movies can come along, anytime and outdo it. But for everything that we've seen so far, even though they're a different genre, which has been like the horror genre, this has been I really loved the movie. I just thought it was
like
fun.
A weird in-between, because I can't even consider it a movie. I would more so consider it like an episode.
A long episode.
Like a movie-sode. Like a cross between an episode and a movie, because a movie is a movie is a movie. Like none of these movies have felt like they're actual movies. They just feel like episodes that are extended into being movies, and that's not a bad thing. That's just a general observation.
Well, just to be clear about people who may not have seen this show, Psych. It is a really good, funny show, consistently funny, hardly any bad episodes, and the best thing, it's almost like from other TV shows I've watched, like Grimm is a great example, is whoever picked out the cast did an excellent job, and because they just all fit together, and the two main stars, James
Rodriguez.
And what's the other guy's name? It's Gus. But
Dooley Hill.
Dooley Hill. I ought to know. I have his Twitter or Facebook or something. I don't know. But
you should have everything if you're a true Psych fan.
But anyway,
Safi,
they're the two main characters, and they they have the best chemistry. You cannot lose with that kind of chemistry. And then the main person who created the series, they were based, didn't you say they were kind of loosely based on maybe some of his childhood experiences?
What are you talking about, Safi?
The guy who created the Psych series.
When did I ever say that?
I don't know. I thought you did. But anyway,
I think that's for a different show.
Okay, well, anyway, he did a really good job. I mean, I don't know where he came up with some of these ideas. I don't know, but it's just really funny. I guess really the chemistry between the two makes it possible for them to do whatever.
It sort of shows you that the whole idea that, they couldn't have ever made a Ghostbusters 3, it sort of shows that idea is complete BS, because if the characters have really good chemistry, then you can write a good script and it'll be a good movie.
Yeah.
Like with this.
And it was just fun.
Or with Dumb and Dumber 2, that's another one. People said, you can't make a Dumb and Dumber Part 2. It's like, yeah, you clearly can. It's just a matter of if you will or won't. And so we're glad that they made Psych 3. This is Gus.
And the reason why they say this is Gus, because James Roday is on a series called This Is Us.
Wait, James Roday Rodriguez is on This Is Us?
Isn't he?
No, that's Dooley Hill. Safi.
What?
Dooley Hill is in This Is Us. James Roday Rodriguez is in A Million Little Things, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, okay.
Safi.
I don't watch any of the shows, sorry.
Oh, that's very bizarre.
Sorry. But anyway, so that's why they called it, because I guess apparently This Is Us is coming out today.
What?
Didn't you say that? It's coming out today well?
The movie already came out, yeah. I never talked about the show.
I thought you were talking about the show. Okay, I think I'm just going to dispense with that.
Oh, Safi.
But I really enjoyed the movie, and the chemistry was spot on as usual. And the last two movies really haven't been as good as this. I think they were trying to find their way.
No, let's be honest, Safi. we didn't release the reviews for the first two movies because with the first review, it got deleted somehow, mysteriously. Probably Safi deleted it somehow.
I didn't touch it. I don't do. I have nothing to do.
She
with
hacked
these reviews.
She hacked into my phone like in that X-Files episode where it's an evil computer, and she deleted it, or someone did.
I just don't. I don't have the time to do that anyway. If I'm going to delete, I'm going to delete listings that aren't selling.
And then with the second movie, we did not review it at all, and it was basically because the movie sucked, and
it was okay.
But it sucked.
Compared to this movie,
it sucked.
Well, what happened was the Timothy Ormanson, who plays Detective. Who plays Detective Lassiter? He had a horrible stroke. I mean, a really severe, and he was supposed to be in the movie more, and they had written it as such. Apparently,
that was the first one.
Well, okay. Well, the second one, he came back, but it was real.
They wrote it into it.
Yeah, and so I mean, they've had to manipulate all their original plans, and I guess when you have to make that much of a manipulation, because he was a very central character in the Psych series, and so they probably wanted to continue that character, and but it just didn't work out because he's lucky to be alive. That's how bad the stroke was. And so even in this one, Marco and I noted that in the, and I saw it like once maybe, the preview for the movie, the trailer, all the men, Julie Hill, James Roday, Rodriguez, almost every male.
Even Juliet had a beard. Even Chief Karen had a beard too.
No, that's bullshit.
That would have been funny though. Wouldn't that have been funny?
No, because that would have been too over the top. They were trying to be subtle, yet I knew what it was about. All the main central male characters, except for McNabb, the tall police person who was in the show, and he played a lesser, like a police officer, but now I think he's a detective because he had on a suit. He had on a beautiful suit, and he looked good. And but anyway, everybody else had beards, and I think what happened was Timothy Ormanson, he had, from the stroke, his mouth drooped, and he wanted to cover it up with the beard. And so to give support for him, I think the other characters grew beards to show, a kind of a visual support. It's like when somebody cuts their hair and everybody cuts their hair, or somebody grows a mustache, or, it's just the same kind of thing. And I think that's what that was about. I had it figured out in
Safi,
5 minutes.
I will not shave my head bald.
Oh. Okay, Marco, let's not talk about that. Anyway,
what is
the movie about? I'll let Marco talk about it.
You're implying it. Okay, so the first movie sucked. It was a complete weird thing. I don't even know what it was. Like, it was a weird, like, Frankenstein monster. It was a total... It didn't feel like Psych at all. Like, it felt like a completely new thing. And I kind of liked that a little bit at certain points. There were some things that they did that I thought was that fit. Like, I liked how they opened up a new office in, San Francisco. And I thought that was pretty cool. And, of course, they dropped that. And it would have been cool if they had two offices for some reason, but I liked some of the stuff like that. But the movie was just a complete dumpster fire. It was really funny, though, and it was really hilarious, and it was pretty good in terms of a comedy. But overall, it was pretty bad. And there were all these weird things that they had in it, like they had this really weird collage of villains from the past seasons that they brought back. It was just a really weird mess of a movie. And and then they had this stalker woman named what was her name again? Was it Celine? Is it Celine?
Salome or something.
Celine?
I don't know, Marco.
And she's like a crazy stalker, obsessed psychopath.
Salome.
And she's trying to be Gus's girlfriend in the film. And then at the same time, you had some other stuff happening, and then the sequel was really bad. I mean, the sequel was terrible. It started off pretty funny, but it was really bad. I mean, it was even worse than the first one somehow, which I didn't know how that could happen. But it's still Psych, so I mean, I'm not saying it's the worst thing in the world, but it was just really bad. And it at least though it felt more like Psych a little bit because it had more mystery to it, because they realized after the first one that they needed mystery. In the first movie, they didn't even have any mystery at all, basically. They didn't have any crime solving or anything, and that's what the whole show is about. It's about crime solving. And so we really missed that from the first one. So I would say, though, that the first one is better than the second one, because at least the first one was more enjoyable. Because in the second one, they have it where he's gonna get married to the crazy stalker woman she's his wife in real life, which is fine, but the character that they wrote, she's like a psychopath. And I really didn't like how they just wanted to forget about that and just completely, like, they could have had like a character arc for her. They could have had like her transform into a normal person like she is in real life. But they didn't. They just had her, they just sort of like forgot about it because they didn't have enough time. And that leads to the main issue of the series as a whole. The movie series, that is that they don't have enough time to do things. Because they're movies. Like they should be having a show. And because if they had a show, they would have time to have people get used to that character, Celine. They would have time to do things.
Oh, it's in this movie, the Psych 3 movie, it's Salome or something.
It's Celine, or wait, no, it's
Salome. I wrote it down.
It's wait, no, is it Serene? Is it?
Well,
wait.
That's right. You know what? They didn't know her name because in this movie she had about 20 different aliases. So they were floating around all these different names. It kind of got a little bit confusing.
I'm just forgetting, because in the first two movies I called her Crazy Psycho Woman. That's what I called her character. I didn't call her Serene or Celine or whatever the fuck. But then in the third movie, it's all about how Gus is getting married to her and she's having a baby, which was the big reveal of the second movie, and I hated that because it just felt like a soap opera. Oh god, that second movie was bad. But so they have all this drama with Sean investigates her, and I won't get into anything else because I don't want to spoil it.
No, you really have to watch it.
Yeah.
It's really worthwhile. Really.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a fan of Psych.
Let's just talk about the movie in general, about our basic thoughts about it, and then we'll rate it and get it into spoilers. Because we have to rate it in terms of food, Safi. We have to rate it in terms of food. Did you forget about that?
I'll come up with something real quick.
See, I knew that she would forget about that again, so I was trying to... I gave you a lot of time.
It's just that I don't eat that many different things now, and they don't taste the same or anything like they did before, so I kind of have to reach back.
What did we even rate the first movie?
I don't know, Marco. I could probably see if I still have my notes for it, but I've thrown a lot of stuff away, but I might have my notes. I'll check, but when I have
I would
time,
just say
I have a lot to do.
In general, well, yeah, you say that all the time, so
I know,
it takes up the time that you take saying that takes up a million years of time.
We're doing a review right now, so.
Well, so I really liked the movie. I thought that it was the best movie out of the 3 movies that they've made so far. It felt, once again, it felt a lot more like the series than the first two movies, and I really like seeing all the characters. And it was a funny movie. There wasn't really any dip in it. Like in the second movie, it was funny at first, but then it took like a huge dip to where it wasn't funny at all as it went on. But in this one, it was funny the whole way through, and I liked the story. I liked the characters. It was a very good Psych movie.
Well, they all seemed like they wanted to be there too. I think that's another thing.
And it was probably the best Psych-related thing since, like, I don't know, season 6, season 7. Like, it was way better than the Psych series finale that just felt like a giant fizzle out, or like someone sitting on a whoopee cushion. Remember that shitty finale, Safi?
I just think that they were ready to, they just were tired of it and they needed a break. They needed to get refreshed. And I think by now they have gotten lots of refreshment, and that's why they could do so well. And they were having fun too. It seems like they were having fun.
You know what they should do though, Safi? They should wait 25 years to do it and call it Psych the Return.
No, let's just say they did, but not.
That's what they should do.
No.
Psych the Return.
No. Anyway, I figured out, periodically throughout the series, they had this musical star, and I can't believe it. I have the album and everything. Well, I figured out who it is. At least I figured out the group. It's Tears for Fears, and I don't know if it's James's favorite group or it's the series creator or both. They're from the 80s, and
they reference the group all the time in the whole series, Safi.
Well, I didn't hear the name of it today watching the movie, but anyway, the guy who usually came back for occasional appearances on episodes, he was in it today, and they did was in charge of the song which closed out the movie.
Oh, you're spoiling it.
Well, you won't. You won't. I'm not giving anything else away. I don't even remember his name.
But I don't.
I have the album, and it's so funny because, back then they had brown hair and they were younger. I mean, it's so hard to believe that time period just went by so fast.
I will say.
And here they are. They're older.
The biggest, since we should just finish talking about it non-spoiler so we can get into and the movie. I think that the biggest problem with the movie was that it felt like a TV episode in the sense that it had all these plots in the film that they didn't go anywhere, and it felt kind of like they're just setting up plots for more sequels. But it's weird because the plots were kind of like continuations of plots from the previous movies. So it has like a weird feeling to it where it feels like they should just be making like a show, and that it's weird that it's a movie. What do you think, Safi?
Well, I just didn't mind it. I guess we've seen so much crap that it was a welcome change from the crap. And I guess if I had seen really, really good movies, a lot more than what I've seen, which I haven't seen very many, that I'd probably be more particular about that. And if it was kind of like an extended episode, then that's the way it was.
Well, I was just saying that's the biggest issue of the movie. There's no other issue really to talk about other than that for me.
The fact is, we just wish that they could come back as a series because it's just so entertaining and funny. And like I said, I watched every single episode, and really almost all of them were good. Now there were a few, very few bad ones. They just have such good chemistry that maybe even on their worst days, they're good.
Well,
so
you can just kind of forget about the bad episodes, like the ones where Juliet finds out that Sean wasn't a psychic, and she's like throwing a temper tantrum.
and
Like
everybody else
those
knew
episodes.
it.
Ugh.
Yeah, but
Ugh.
that has
Ugh.
nothing to do with the
Ugh.
movie.
Ugh.
Anyway,
We were just talking about in general.
I know.
Anyways,
It didn't matter to me, just because I just loved, and at the end, it really
let's rate it before you
it was
spoil it.
great. So I loved it.
Let's rate it in terms of food. What's your food rating, Safi?
Well, God,
Teriyaki?
I guess I'm
Teriyaki
gonna
noodles?
do it in terms of my, which I'm looking forward to. And God, I hope it turns out my pumpkin chiffon pie. It's just so good, and it's rarely ever. I mean, I still like it, even though my tastes have changed to almost nothing. And it's just really good. And then you have real whipped cream on the top. And Thanksgiving is next Thursday, which is a week from today, apparently, which is scary because it just happens so quickly.
Yeah, are you thankful for this movie, Safi?
Yeah, I am.
Good.
And it's just a really good pie,
You
real
better
crust.
be
I
thankful.
home make the crust, home make the pie. And so, anyway, I'm looking forward to it, and because it's always consistently good, which is like the chemistry between these two fine actors and all the other actors too. And I'm grateful, if you want to think of Thanksgiving, that Timothy Ormanson, sorry, I just say that Detective Lassiter
Yeah, just say
is
that,
still
Safi.
doing. He's doing pretty well. I don't know if he'll ever come back to full form, because like I said, I know about strokes. He had a terrible, terrible stroke. He is lucky to be alive, and that's probably because when he was having it, they knew it and they got him the help he needed. That's a key into the kind of stroke that he had. So I'm thankful that he is doing well.
Well,
and that he could be a part of their
I think
fun
that,
movie that they did.
Well, okay, we'll get to everything in spoilers. I think that my food rating, it's tough because I kind of thought this was going to be a wedding movie, and I'm kind of glad that it wasn't.
He just did all the regular things. It was funny. He did everything you hear about.
I'm glad that it wasn't a wedding movie, though. I mean, aren't you glad they didn't make it like a wedding movie
Oh, yeah,
type
I'm glad.
thing?
I don't think it would have
I was like,
been as
oh,
good.
thank God.
But he did all the wedding preparations. He was looking at napkin rings. He was looking
That was
at...
fun.
They were doing... They got their tuxedos. They did the cake tasting, which I'm sure they loved the most.
They did.
They also...
They did other stuff,
and
too.
they did a... Well, I
Don't
want to
spoil
spell
it,
it.
Safi, because
Spoil it. But
we're not
anyway,
in spoilers yet. We're
that
not
was
spoilers.
but that was just really a very small fraction of the movie, the wedding.
Yeah, I thought that was a relief because I was worried about that. That's the reason why I was worried about the movie, and so I'm glad that my worries didn't overtake it. But I would rate this movie. It's tough to rate it as a movie because it's, as I said, it's like a TV episode. I would give it a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch with milk, and then a bowl of chocolate Cinnamon Toast Crunch with milk, and then a bowl of Count Chocula cereal, and then a bowl of, I don't know. And the reason I say that is because it's always been sort of like a comfort type of show, like a comforting comedic type of show. It does have a lot of seriousness, especially in the earlier seasons, which is why I prefer the earlier seasons. And I would say that this movie actually brought some more serious stuff, especially in the beginning. They had some danger to the plot a little bit in terms of, well, I'll get to it in the spoilers. But it was just such a good movie, and such a, you're eating all these little bowls of cereal, and you're feeling like, oh, I'm having these like fun, like sugary dessert cereals, and you're just eating all different types of them, and it's a really nice experience of a movie. Now to get to it in spoilers, I thought that the beginning was actually the best part, because in the beginning there was actually like some danger to the story, because he's investigating his best friend's fiance, and so it's like a really like a sensitive situation, because if you know, it could have led to their breakup, if he found out and if he took it the wrong way, like it could have ended up really badly. And so I like the danger of Sean having to investigate that without Gus finding out. And then I would say that the best part of the whole movie, the best scene, was, what do you think, Safi?
Well, they're getting married and her giving birth at the same time, and
No,
then also
that
when they
wasn't
were
the
in the
best part.
bathroom,
Yeah, that was the best part.
that was hilarious.
When they have a fight.
Because Gus comes in there. What happens is
Sean steals her purse.
now.
He actually stole her purse. I mean, that's how like dangerous of a situation it was. Like, could you imagine what would have happened if either of them found out in that scene? It would have been a disaster.
Well, the only thing that I was kind of hesitant about that was that if that was a thrifted purse and they did what they did with that, they called it Ziz, where they spray it and they can see what was there underneath, and it showed her what her other address or name, or because he thought she was fake, and Sean did. He
Well,
thought
she was
wasn't.
fake.
She was fake.
Yeah.
And he discovered that. He confirmed it by looking at this after he put this, and it's a crime thing for like forensic scientists, detectives, when they're doing their research. It's some kind of spray they put on something, and he did some other stuff, and what was there a while back shows up, like something that had, like invisible ink.
Wouldn't you
way.
agree that's the best scene of the
I
whole
thought
film?
that, yeah, and they're back, and
Them
then Sean
fighting.
comes in, sees what he's doing.
No, Gus comes in.
I mean,
Safi.
Gus comes in. I'm sorry.
Safi. Just see, this is why you should just stick to reviewing and not like trying to just explain the entire movie like you're explaining
I'm not explaining the
movie.
entire movie.
Yeah, you are.
It's just the fact that he comes in there
You're
and
doing it again.
the whole thing goes. I mean, the whole part of that was so funny.
Yeah.
Them going back and forth and back and forth, and
I thought their disguises were pretty funny too. I liked their little disguises
Yeah.
that they had. They were much better disguises than the first and second movie.
yeah.
And what I was talking about with the little plots here and there was that there were these little weird plots once in a while, like with Lassiter. He had this like huge plot that was ongoing about him. Basically, he's gonna have to quit being a policeman, and so it's like the struggle of him doing that, and and they didn't really focus on it though, and it was weird because they kind of baited you. Not the makers of this movie, but the people who sorry. But they baited people and said that Lassiter's back, and I think that it was wrong to do that, to like say anything about like him coming back, because he was really only in like 2 scenes.
And I think really
And
that was
that's
all
fine.
he could handle.
That's fine.
And if he has another stroke, he'll probably die. And so it's very serious. If you have something like this, you're even more likely to have another one in any form. So, and he probably, and who knows, maybe he wants to do more, maybe he can't. Maybe his doctors told him no. Who knows? We don't know. We don't need to know, really. I think he was in enough, and it worked out the way it did.
But then there were these other weird plots, like with Sean and Juliet. Are they going to have a kid? Are they not going to have a kid? And honestly, since it's a show and it's not real life, they can have a kid. But I hope that Psych 4 isn't just focused on them having a kid or something, because it's going to be like a soap opera if you keep doing that.
Well, I just think they have to realize and take in take in the fact that they're getting older and
They don't have to do that for the whole movie, though. They don't have to make that the focus of
you're
the
right.
movie.
I understand that, but I mean, they can't pretend like that nothing is ever going to change and everything is going to be the way it. They just can't do that. It just isn't realistic.
But you already said that it is the same way. They all have the same chemistry.
Well, that isn't the same as what I'm talking about. Going through life changes like getting married and having a baby doesn't change the chemistry you have between the actors.
Well, maybe Sean could just go back with Abigail and have a baby with her. And then the last plot was Karen, Chief Karen, or I guess she's not chief anymore. The whole background plot with her was very bizarre, and they've sort of done it. It's weird because they've done that to her for all three movies. Where in the first movie they had that weird plot where her daughter was being bullied. Remember that stupid thing, Safi? Her daughter was being bullied, and then Juliet helped her.
Marco has an excellent memory, that's for sure.
And then the second one is some weird plot. Oh wait, no, it's like some interview, like her wanting like some bigger job or something.
Oh yeah.
It was just, and they've done that to her every movie. They give her like this little background character plot. It's really bizarre.
Well, in this one, she just wants to go on a vacation. She hasn't been on one in a long time, and that's what it's all about. Her planning for the vacation, leaving for the vacation, being
really
late for the vacation, and missing her family because they wouldn't do it without her.
And they'll never show her husband because it's been a long suspected rumor that they really want Emilio Estevez to play her husband because they've had every single person from the Breakfast Club on Psych except for Emilio Estevez. And I think that's just because they can't get him. But it was just really weird.
I don't know why.
Well, he's a weirdo, so I don't care. I honestly don't care. I mean, the Breakfast Club is kind of overrated anyways.
Yeah, it's an 80s thing.
Well, you've never seen it.
I've never seen it. I don't care if I see it at all. Don't care.
Ferris Bueller is much better.
I saw that.
You love that one.
Yeah.
So do we have anything else to mention? So I like the ex-boyfriend, the Alan Decker guy. I thought that he was cool.
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job. I thought it was funny that he disappeared at the end.
Yeah.
I wondered about that.
I wonder
thought he
what
was
they'll
knocked
do.
out.
I wonder what they'll do with that one.
I don't know, but they will do something because they really try to cover, and that was a very integral part of the movie. I think they will do something. So
and also if you notice, they made Celine or Serene, whatever her name is, they made her hair long, and
Saline or whatever.
And they did that because her character in the first two movies, people hated her character.
And I have Selena Gilmore.
And she had short hair. And so I think they purposefully made her hair long to make it so that people didn't associate her with the character from the first two films as much. Because honestly, Gus really belongs with Myra, the woman that he married. And, they had that whole episode in season 2. Like, that's really the woman that he belongs with, his character anyways. Not in real life, obviously. But that's always going to be an issue. And I just wanted to bring that up since it's always been an issue.
I think we should say again, the guy from Tears for Fears did a music video, but they are all in it, and they're goofing around. They look so happy.
That's how the movie ends.
And they are talking about, and I just let it go by. I didn't go back and look at it, but I don't know if you remember the musical group Wham with George Michael, who passed away a few years ago. But they were talking about that and this guy and his group. And so they called this video Wham or By Wham instead of Wham.
They called the video Previous Holiday.
Well, I know, but what was the WHOM? Wham. I kind of didn't understand. So if anybody has a comment or something about Wham, it's that movie, that one. Well, I don't know which one it was. I mean, music video that they did, that Wham did, and about this guy. I don't know. I just don't know what that was about.
That's another thing. It was a very weird choice to end the movie with the music video.
But it was a Christmas. It was a Christmas song.
And I'll say that because it just made it feel once again like an episode even more. Because, you know, with a movie, it wouldn't end with a music video.
I thought it was fun, though.
It was good.
And they dressed up. They didn't dress up as themselves. They all wore these wigs and costumes.
Yeah, they've done that before, Safi.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought it was fun, and the song isn't bad. He was commissioned probably to make up the song and video. They all worked on the video and the song, though he probably wrote it and for the show. So I thought it was fun.
So, Safi?
Okay, so if you like this video, please press the like button. And if you would like to subscribe to our channel, we welcome all subscribers, and with open arms. And tell us what you think if you saw Psych, and if you see the movie, what you think about it. And if you have any comments about the music video and Wham, I'm gonna have to, because the wigs that some of them were wearing was like George Michael had his hair in the beginning when he first started in Wham. So I don't know if that's why they had those wigs like that. I have no idea. So you just let me know.
The weirdest things to talk about.
Well, I can't help it. I just remember, and it's fun. I have both of those albums. I have the Tears for Fears, and I have the Wham thing. So I think somebody, Robert or my parents or somebody, gave to me for a Christmas gift or something. So, okay, everybody, bye.